Hey, happy Monday. I am Miss Tara, your virtual voice teacher, and this is your virtual voice lesson. I'm so happy to be back with you on this Music Monday, coming to you live from Camarillo, California. So today we're going to focus on a really awesome exercise. It'll be a 3-note pattern from the major scale that I just totally love, and we're going to approach it from a few different angles. It's a great exercise if you haven't been singing in a while and you kind of want to heat the vocal cords back up, clear the cobwebs out of the way. It's also really excellent if you've been over singing or over producing with your voice, if you went to the theme park and screamed a bunch and you kind of just need to work out and get flexible and stretch your vocal cords, stretch your voice a little bit, but not overuse it. So it's really a wonderful therapy, vocal therapy today for your voice. But first, we're going to begin this lesson the way I begin all of my voice lessons, with some attention on breath. And today I'm going to do the stamina exercise with you. I'm going to do it the way that I do it in my own lessons with my own voice teacher. So this is the most advanced way to do it. The first thing I want to say is that you want to do this exercise, and all exercises actually, at your own way and pace. Singing is about being true to your own instrument. So everything that I do is an example of what works for me, but you should do it with what works for your voice. So today what we're going to do for this stamina exercise is I'm going to breathe in, then I'm going to hold my breath until I feel like I can release the air, or I feel like I'm ready to release the air, and then I'm going to send the air out on this really thin stream between my lips. And I want you to really notice the form of the inhalation, how I'm holding my breath, and my exhalation, what I do with my mouth for the exhalation. The thing that I love about this experience through breath is that it really slows the entire process of breath support down for me. So it's like this really stretching out of the breath, which is the thing that we do in more tempo, the thing that we do with more speed when we're actually singing a song. So it really harnesses all of those different muscles in very specific ways to help us. But what I want to encourage you to do is, if you do this with me, I encourage you to do it in your own way. So you don't have to hold your breath as long as I do. You don't have to inhale or exhale as long as I do, or you can do it longer if you can. So you want to make sure that if you're a person, I've found that people who might be prone to allergies or have asthma, holding their breath is sometimes not always the best process. So you might try counting a held breath to 10 to 8 or 10 beats, just to give yourself a little more strategy around the breath holding, but do it in your own way, okay? If you're going to do it seated like I'm going to do, make sure that your back is up off the back of the chair, the feet are on the ground firmly planted, and I even have them hips width apart while I'm seated. If you're standing, that's great. Stand with your shoulders down, feet slightly apart, about shoulders width apart, and a slight bend in your knees so you actually get your butt kind of tucked under you, okay? Here we go, the stamina exercise. We're going to begin. And even when I think I'm done with my exhalation, I keep pulling my stomach muscles in. So I don't know if you noticed a couple of things that happened when I did that breath exercise. First of all, if you're new to breathing and you feel that your shoulders lift, or you feel very shallow up here on your inhale, that's completely normal and completely natural. What I recommend doing is, once you're done inhaling, just shake your shoulders out. Pay attention to what they're doing. Eventually, they actually won't lift as much. So I inhale, and if you notice, I keep my cheekbones lifted. That keeps a nice high lift in the soft palate, but I keep a nice relaxed extension in my jaw as I inhale. So it's very nice and easy. It's almost like I'm lifting the breath up through the roof of the mouth. You can also feel me pulling it across the back of the throat a little bit. That's just a process of me slowing the inhale down. I'm trying to be slow with my inhale. We don't actually do that when we sing, but as I said, this process is about slowing everything down. Then, even as I'm holding my breath, I do keep that lift in my cheekbones the entire time. The holding of the breath is almost like this stasis that I'm in right before I would be singing, right? And then I do the exhalation, which is very simply a pulling in of the stomach muscles and sending the air out between the lips. I don't do anything to indicate I'm going to do that with the lips. The lips don't change. There's no embouchure like there might be with a flute player or a trumpet player. It's just a very immediate opening that happens as the result of the air being sent out, okay? And then, like I said earlier, even when I think I'm done with that exhale, I keep pulling my stomach muscles in. I'm always amazed by how much more I have left in there, even when I think I'm done. So even if it's just these little spurts of air that you get at the end, just keep going as long as you feel like you can, okay? Let's do another one. Here we go. And that one felt so much better than the first, too. If you notice, I am taking a break in between each one of these to talk a little bit about the exercise. But if you were to do this on your own, I would recommend that in between each, you take a couple of normal breaths. So it's not like a constant cycle of this intense inhale and exhale. Usually when I'm doing this in my own lessons with my teacher, I start sweating during this process. It's pretty athletic. So I really encourage you to go slowly through this and to really feel what your body is doing. The other thing that I like about this exercise, apart from the fact that it gets my breath harnessed to sing, is that it clears my mind. Actually, it really, because I'm keeping such a focus on the dimension of breath for singing, it helps me really get focused into my body, and my entire body is my instrument. I can't express that enough for singers. My whole body is my instrument. So this exercise at the beginning of my lessons helps me get in touch with what's going to be happening in my body in the next, however long I'm going to be singing for. We're going to do one more time. This time what I'm going to do is I'm going to count to 24 beats. You'll see me count on my hands. I'll just do it at a tempo that is good for me. You can join me in counting if you want, or you can keep doing it the other way. It's just to give you, if you're somebody who's struggling a little bit more with this, it's just to give you a little bit of a firm grounding on the holding part so you feel like you have a barometer, okay? Here we go. That felt so good. Oh my gosh, that felt so good. So usually by the third one, I feel like my breath is starting to work for me. When I'm in my own voice lesson with my voice teacher, they're usually like 90 minutes to 2 hours. So we might do 3 or 4 more of those, believe it or not. So you can do a couple more of those actually, because that last one really felt like it started working for me. My breath just started to feel really nice, cyclical, easy, relaxed. All of the worries and concerns of the earlier part of the day were gone. So if you're feeling good and want to keep doing that, I encourage you to do so. But we're going to move forward with our exercise. So today we're doing a 3-note scale from the major scale. Last week we talked about octave jumps, which is do to do. Okay, so the major scale is made up of, for those of you who maybe haven't seen Sound of Music, the major scale is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So there's technically do to do is your major scale, but today and last week we did octave jumps, and I even added the fifth in add a couple of points to aid in those jumps. It was super fun, actually. I really liked it. But today we're going to focus on the first 3 notes of the scale. Do, re, mi, re, do. Okay, and just to get that pattern down, we're going to sing that solfege. Okay, so we're going to do it we're going to do it 3 times in a row. Do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do. And we are going to keep it a little bit brisk like that. So just keep going with me a few times in a row just to do this over and over again, just to get that pattern down. Do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do. And if you notice, it's very legato, it's very connected. And I'm breathing one time and singing through the whole thing. So this is one breath for this whole exercise. Do, re, do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do. Now, if you're having trouble getting the notes, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. Just keep trying with the solfege. Do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do. The first 3 scaled degrees, okay? I'm taking a nice relaxed breath in between each of them. So I'm not rushing. I'm breathing when I change the key. So I'm changing the key on the piano. That's when I take my breath. Do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do. 2 more. Do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do. So we're not traveling terribly far. Do, re, and mi are super linear. They're one whole step to another whole step and then back down. So nothing crazy, no crazy jumps today, nothing like this. So the first thing that I'm going to do now is I'm going to hum. I'm going to hum on this 3-note scale. Humming is a really, really fantastic tool. But the interesting thing about humming is that there is an appropriate way to do it. And if you're just joining me for singing, you might be kind of surprised to hear that. Some people may already know that. If you've ever sung on choir, there's actually a lot of choral literature that requires humming, and so sometimes people learn to hum the right way in choir. The way that I hum is I close my lips, but I keep my teeth apart on the inside, like the inside of my mouth is open. So I go like this. I'm closing the front of my mouth, but my teeth are slightly apart. And if you're wondering how much space that should be, sometimes my students ask me that. You might consider just the width of your tongue. If you can slide your tongue between your teeth, that might be a large enough amount of space inside the mouth, okay? But the front of the mouth, the lips will stay closed, okay? I'm still going to breathe through my mouth. That's very, very important. A lot of times when people start humming, they want to breathe through their nose. So I'm still going to do a nice inhale and then close like that. Okay, I'm closing, but I'm keeping the teeth apart on the inside. And then we're going to do this repetitive pattern. We won't be saying the solfege now, but we're going to just hum it. Okay, so we're going to go. Now, the thing that I love about humming, okay, humming became this medicinal tool for me. I have a huge voice, and I went through a really rough patch with my voice for a long time. And the teachers that gave me humming were the teachers that helped my voice the most. Because the thing that is true about humming, I feel, and I'm pretty sure I'm right about this, is that it helps a singer find the path of their voice. When I'm humming like that, I feel all this vibrating in my face. And don't worry if you're not exactly sure what that is, or you're like, I don't think I feel that. Trust me, it's there, okay? Just go with me on this. It feels like a vibration. It feels like a buzzing in the front of my face. And that's where my voice likes to hang out. That's the track that my voice likes to sit on. And even though my humming probably sounds pretty large, it shouldn't actually be. It's actually very small. So you don't need to make your sound very large at all. What you really want to be paying attention to is that buzzing sensation. And because this is so linear, because these notes, do, re, and mi, are so close together, you want to imagine that those notes are staying kind of in the same position. So they're not going high and they're not going low. They're sort of staying in the same living room. M. That's what I'm holding, the voiced consonant M over and over, in case you're wondering. It's so yummy, the feeling of my voice right now. Just to give you an idea, there is so much vibrating in the front of my face, especially in the bridge of my nose. Now we're going to start to ascend, okay? If you're a female and you're joining me, we're going from octave 3 to octave 4, okay? If you're a gentleman, you can go from octave 2 to octave 3. So just feel where your voice is. You don't have to carry up quite as high as we're going. Just go with me as much as you can. As we ascend, the positions are going to start to get smaller. The buzzing will still be there, but it'll start to feel like a very fine thread of buzzing through the bridge of your nose. Remember, teeth slightly apart. It should feel a little strange, almost like you're feeling a little stretched, but that stretch also, those teeth slightly apart, means that my soft palate is lifted. So I'm keeping a nice stretch in the soft palate with my teeth slightly apart on the inside. Now I'm feeling a few cobwebs as I move up here. I call cobwebs like if you have gunge in your throat or you just haven't been singing in a while, so your voice isn't sort of connecting. I like to call them cobwebs because it's not really real. It's not part of your voice. It's just the muscle waking up, or, oh, someone's throwing something out. My neighbors. Sorry about that. It's just the muscles waking up, or, you have some stuff. A lot of my students who have allergies and sinus things say that when we start to hum, they feel everything start to drain. Singing is so glamorous. So if you're feeling that happening, that's okay. That's good. You're just shaking it up in there, okay? But the thing to do is to not push. So if you start to feel like you're pushing from here, pushing from your throat, or lifting your chin, okay, that is not the way to be humming. It's actually very small. I liken humming to sort of threading a needle with my voice. My voice becomes very slim, okay, very delicate, and that thread of voice is what I'm singing on in my hum. And challenging section for me. There's some register shift stuff happening, just a tiny little bit, just like the beginning of it. So I have to make sure that I don't pull that sound back or try to force it. I have to make it more tiny, more linear, relying on the breath, letting the breath pull me through it. Okay, and that's what I like about humming, is that it really kind of forces me to use my breath to get my voice in a very nice focused place. For me, when I do something like this and I have to get into that nice focused place, is I really have to start paying attention to my breath. My breath support muscles, my stomach muscles are pulling in, but as I get higher and into these more tiny places, I feel my back muscles start to just contract the littlest tiniest bit. So if you're doing this with me, you might think about that the stomach muscles, or that pulling the breath, you're pulling it from your lower back a little bit. Just this idea that lower back is engaged. My voice teacher says you sing from your spine. So I don't know that I get that visual so much, but I think it's interesting to think about and contemplate. Oops. Where are we? We skipped. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take another quick amalgam of that. Great. First of all, great job. Take a drink of water if you want one. if you followed me with that. If any of these exercises are too hard or you're struggling, go back a step. Take a step back. So we're going to change this one up a little bit. We're going to do 2 rounds of hum and then 1 round of me, me, me now. To get the singing voice into position, I'm going to start again a little bit lower, okay? But if it feels too hard or it's too challenging, just go back a step and keep humming with us. Nothing has to be advanced until you feel like you're ready to advance with us, okay? So the way this is going to go is like this. Me, 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 me. And note, I'm not taking a breath. I'm still doing it all in one breath. I get that nice inhale through my mouth on the key change. I close my mouth, okay? I sing the hums with my teeth slightly apart on the inside, and then I just transition. I know it seems seamless, but it's sort of like the hum is leading me into the me, okay? So, me, 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 me. Oh, that's so yummy. And my voice is just like parked right in here. I love it. Oh, it feels so good. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. If you are getting through this on one breath, but you notice that you're getting some tension in your shoulders, there's a tension in your neck, that's totally okay. While you're singing or humming, just shake it out. Everything's all right. It's just about paying attention to what your body's doing. Me, 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 me. 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 As I said, as I get higher, those notes have to get more, they actually get tinier, okay? And the buzzing, it feels like it abates. In a way, it sort of does because the notes are getting higher. So actually, scientifically, the sound waves are getting shorter and smaller. So of course, the sensation of vibration would ease up, but I can still feel a little coil of vibrating through the bridge of my nose. Me, 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 me. 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 2 more. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. Now, don't worry if you're doing this with me, you're like, oh my God, am I going to sound like an opera singer? I don't want to sound like an opera singer. I want to sing the way I want to sing. You don't have to sound like an opera singer to do this. You get to sound like you. The only thing that this exercise I find does is it helps you find your more organic place to sing from. That's it. That voice might be classical. That voice might be musical theater, or it could be pop and contemporary. Who knows? Your voice is your own instrument, you know? But this just helps you get on that track, that natural track, so you're not pushing, you're not sending sound out that's not authentic to who you are vocally. That's why I love it. And me, vocally, I've always been sort of an opera singer, so that's the way the cookie crumbles for me. So we're going to do one final I don't want to call it assault at this, but this one is going to be a little bit more intense because we're going to do a hum, then we're going to open to the me on the second pass, and then the final bit is going to be staccato he's. Okay, so we did a lot of staccato he's last week. That's actually he. Okay, the H is an aspirate consonant, so it helps pull my stomach muscles in. Okay, staccato means short and disconnected. Short means that the stomach muscles are pulling in. Disconnected means I drop the stomach muscles in between. Okay, so the way the pattern will be is like this. Me, 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 he. Okay, and if you're wondering, am I getting a breath in between each of those staccatos? I'm actually not. It's just in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. I have enough breath to get myself through it, but we'll do it a little bit slower in case you would like to take a breath in between each note. Okay, so I'll slow it down. And again, if this is too much, if this pattern changes too much, that's totally fine. You can do all the humming. You can keep singing on solfege. You can do a bunch of me me's if you want. Whatever works for you, okay? This is just the extent of it. And what I like about adding staccato at the end of a vocal phrase, by the way, is that it really shows if my breath is working. If I can do 2 rounds of legato and then add a couple of staccato notes at the end, I might be showing off a little bit, but it's also really, really good exercise, okay? Here we go. We're gonna go a little bit slower. That's gonna make the staccato a little more challenging, but let's see if we can do it. Me, 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 he. That was fun. Me, 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 he. Me, 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 he. And if you notice while I'm doing it, whether I'm singing, well, the hum, not so much to notice, but whether it's the me, or the he, I'm singing the same 3 notes, right? And those notes are always sounding the same in the position of my voice, right? Whether I'm on the me or I'm on the staccato he, the tone is still the same. So that's why it's good to go in and out of legato, regardless of the pattern of exercise. Going in and out of legato is a great thing. It's like yin and yang, okay? And it really solidifies the integrity of my tone. If I can sing in the same position on staccato and as I do on legato, my voice is lined up, okay? So that's what we're trying to do. If you find that when you go to the staccato that it's lighter or getting more airy, you might slow this exercise down a little bit more and really put attention on that staccato. By comparison, you find that you're nailing it on staccato and that the humming's great, but on legato it gets really weak and sort of watery sounding. Again, go back to the hum and see if you can connect to that train track in the hum where you sing your me's. Me, 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 he. Me, 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 he. Oops, I almost forgot. Me, 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 he. As I said, as I get here, this area of my voice, it starts to get very narrow for me. So I have to really kind of reach pulling from my back muscles a little bit more to get more air in there. It's almost like it gets finer. Me, 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 he. Now I'm gonna just do a bunch of different ones. So this first one, all humming. Now I'm going to add the me at the end. Me. Now we'll do all 3 of them. How about 1 hum, then 2 me-me's? Me. Now 1 hum and 2 he-he's. He. I like that one. Let's do that again. He. Now one hum, one me, one staccato. Me, he. Bravi tutti. What an excellent voice lesson. Thank you so much for joining today. See, my speaking voice is already so much better. The thing that I like about that exercise, if you notice, I didn't go too high or too low. We hung out in our middle range. It got everything nice and forward. So if you've been tired, if you're vocally strained, this is just a nice little thing. The other thing that I really like about doing exercises like this is that, as I said, it helps me find positioning for my own voice for intonation purposes as well. So I'm not singing too flat, I'm not singing too sharp. So going through, taking little tiny chunks of the major scale, like these little morsels, and just listening to the pattern of solfege and then putting it on different syllables and different breath approaches helps improve my ear as much as it improves my voice. And quite honestly, for singers, we need to have a really excellent sense of pitch, because where we hear pitch is where we sing from as well. Thank you so much for joining me for another Music Monday. This has been an absolute delight. You can check us out on YouTube at Miss Tara at the Hummingbird Conservatory. Check out our hummingbird puppets on TikTok on Wednesday. Love and high notes to you all. Have a wonderful day. Mwah.